Can-Am's flagship sports side-by-side, the Maverick X3, was originally released in 2016 as a 2017 model. It entered the market in their 64-inch wide XDS and 72-inch wide XRS versions. In years since, Can-Am's Maverick X3 has received numerous performance and durability refinements. For their top-performing RR models, the X3's most recent round of updates in 2022 brought with it an increase in power from 195 to 200 horsepower, new pDrive roller clutch for quicker, smoother CVT response. Tire size increased from 30 to 32 inches on the 72-inch wide XRS models, and key chassis components were strengthened across the X3 line. Unchanged for 2023. 1 year ago, test driver Eric Jones purchased the top-of-the-line 72-inch wide Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR with computer-controlled Smart Shox. Eric is a precise driver, able to rack up lots of miles at higher speeds without damaging the car by crashing into things. For our review of the 2023 Can-Am Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR, we're happy to present to you a test with opinions formed over 1,500 miles of driving, providing us with a well-formed opinion of what we love, what we changed, and how well the Can-Am holds up over time. UTV On Demand's in-depth long-term test of the 2023 Can-Am Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR with Smart Shox is brought to you by Texeratech Chassis Components, manufacturers of next-level A-arms, the first on the market to relocate your lower shock mount to the lower A-arms while improving ground clearance. Thoroughly tested and race-proven by factory Can-Am, Miller Brothers Racing, and other top drivers. Next Level's revised geometry improves small bump sensitivity, bottoming resistance, and provides more precise steering under aggressive cornering. Camber and caster adjustable for quicker cornering or improved high-speed stability. Texeratech trailing arms are available in various lengths to meet your racing needs or terrain. Radius rods are available in both high clearance and standard replacement designs. All hand-built in the USA of premium-grade 4130 chromoly. The best suspension components are used by the world's top racers. Available at Texeratech.com. Side-by-side oil change kits from Maxima Racing Oils feature premium products packaged together for streamlined side-by-side service. Kits include a Pro Filter oil filter, crush washer, and Maxima side-by-side synthetic oil. Available at power sports dealers everywhere, or have it shipped straight to your door at MaximaUSA.com. The Parallax tire from GBC, featuring all-terrain light truck-inspired tread for serious off-road traction for your side-by-side. Featuring stone ejectors for debris and mud buildup removal. 10-ply rated for greater load carrying capacity. Heavy-duty siping for greater tread flex, increasing grip. Extended sidewall lugs add protection and increase cornering traction. Available in 30 to 35-inch sizes covering most modern side-by-sides. To learn more, see your local power sports dealer or gbctires.com. Trim packages, including the 64 and 72-inch wide configurations. The 200 horsepower Maverick X3 RR models are available in 9 trim packages in the 2-seat models and 6 trim packages in the 4-seat Max models. Smart Shox are reserved for the 72-inch wide top-of-the-line general use XRS machines in both 2 and 4-seat models. For general trail use, pricing for the 200 horsepower 2-seat DS Turbo RR models starts at $24,099, with the 72-inch wide RS models starting at $25,899. The top-of-the-line XRS Turbo RR with Smart Shox that we're testing retails for $32,599. Visit Can-Am Off-Road to learn more about their trim packages and pricing. Testing location. For testing, we headed to the Badlands Off-Road Park located in Attica, Indiana. The brown soil in the woods and coarse pea gravel sand dunes provided the diverse mix of tight and wide open whooped out terrain needed to put a large high performance machine to the test. Plus, the Badlands soil types are much easier to clean off your machine than clay, even in wet conditions, making it a great place to visit and ride year-round. In case you're in the market for a new machine, You can pick one up from their massive dealer inventory located on site. Pre-test modifications. Prior to filming, Eric had added a few accessories to his Maverick over the past year that don't come with the car.
From the factory, the skid plates on this machine are very minimal. Before the first ride, we ordered UHMW factory Can-Am full belly skid plates with control arm and trailing arm protection. And 1,500 miles later, everything looks good on the bottom side. No cracks, no discoloration, no bends, no warps. It's one of the best investments you could put on one of your machines.
A few accessories, including lower door halves, exterior rear view mirrors, a light bar, fender flares, and a couple other small items were added. Even from the factory though, the XRS with Smart Shox comes pretty well equipped. Engine performance. With Can-Am's digitally encoded security system key installed, the Maverick fires right up with the push of a button. The Maverick's 900cc triple-cylinder Rotax engine features 4 valves and double overhead cams per cylinder. It's turbocharged with an integrated intercooler, pumping out 200 horsepower at 7,800 RPMs, up 5 horsepower in 2022 due to new ECU tuning. It's the most powerful 1-liter turbo, and at 1,699 pounds, it has the best power-to-weight ratio in its class. Air for the engine is drawn from inside the cab, high behind the driver's head, with the air filter located inside an air box under the left rear wheel well. Electronic fuel injection delivers the air-fuel mixture to the engine. A drive-by-wire gas pedal mates up to Can-Am's intelligent throttle control, providing 2 throttle modes, Sport and Eco. Both offer full power at full throttle, but Eco mode delivers less throttle earlier in the throttle throw, making driving more manageable in technical terrain, while helping save fuel on long rides.
The engine on this X3 is phenomenal. It's got great bottom end for crawling, the mid-range comes in strong, and the top end never seems to stop pulling. Majority of the time when I'm in the trails, I ride around in Eco mode. Eco mode slows your throttle response down so it's more manageable in tight stuff. Your Sport mode is almost instantaneous. Sport mode is right now. There's no lag in the turbo, and as soon as you look at the throttle, it's gone.
The new pDrive equipped CVT for 2022 added roller bearings to the primary clutch for smoother engagement and improved overall engine responsiveness when combined with the new ECU tuning. It also reduces maintenance.
Off idle, it doesn't grab, it's not jerky. In Eco mode, when you're just crawling around, it makes the car extremely manageable when rock crawling, things of that nature. At high speeds, when coming in and out of the throttle, in and out of corners, the clutch seems to backshift. It's extremely responsive, it's super smooth, and keeps it right in the power where you want it.
A belt temperature sensor was added to the CVT to help warn you before you cook a belt. We've yet to get the belt hot enough to trigger it. The fully automatic, continuously variable transmission is engine braking equipped. It features high and low forward ranges, plus neutral reverse and park.
Low range in this car is extremely low. I use it a lot for rock crawling, really tight trails, any extended periods of time under, say, 10 miles an hour. What's great about low range on this car, it's so low it has no problem turning the stock 32s, and I've seen a lot of people run up to a 35 straight out of the box, no changing anything, and has no problem turning those as well. Engine braking in low range on this machine is phenomenal. In low range, coming down a hill, you almost don't need brakes. In high range, the engine braking is less pronounced. So when you're on and off the throttle, coming into whoops, corners, all that, the front end doesn't want to dive. And the suspension can actually work where you can control the speed with the brakes.
Can-Am's versatile drivetrain features 4 modes: 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive trail, 4-wheel drive active, along with a lockable front differential. Can-Am's Smart Lock front differential was developed with Team Industries. In four-wheel drive trail, it delivers power to one front wheel until the system senses that wheel is slipping. At that point, it progressively locks in both front wheels until traction has been restored. Trail Active Mode locks in both front wheels more quickly for improved traction and handling during aggressive driving. We found it to be most noticeable in low traction conditions entering corners. Chassis and suspension. The Maverick X3 steel chassis benefits from years of refinement, last updated in 2022 for added strength in key areas. The cage received nearly 30% thicker tubing, delivering a 13% increase in torsional rigidity. Mounting tabs for suspension components were beefed up at both ends, as were the high clearance lower A-arms up front and lower radius rods out back. The rear toe plate's thickness was increased, and double shear knuckles were added at the other end of the radius rods for improved strength and rigidity. Suspension travel numbers edge out the Polaris Turbo R, with the dual A-arm front end providing 22 inches of wheel travel and the 4-link trailing arm setup out back providing 24 inches of wheel travel. Sway bars are found at both ends to help keep body roll in check. Can-Am's Fox Smart Shox equipped Mavericks were the first to offer computer-assisted semi-active suspension, controlling both compression and rebound on the fly. Sensors measure throttle, speed, braking, direction, and other inputs up to 200 times per second, and are able to respond within 17 one-thousandths of a second, working to deliver the plushest, most planted ride possible. Fox Podium 2.5 shocks are used up front, with Podium 3.0 shocks used out back. They utilize Fox internal bypass design to reduce harshness from high-speed impacts. Their computer-controlled Smart Shox technology was developed with third-party manufacturer Tractive Industries. Selected by a switch on the dash, Smart Shox offers 3 different ride modes: Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. The shocks are also spring preload and crossover adjustable.
The suspension on the X3s have always been really good. But having driven this machine with the Smart Shox for the last year, I absolutely love it. It makes small bumps completely disappear. Your mid-sized bumps, rocks, things of that nature, it's super smooth, glides right over those as well. For large stuff, G-outs, jump landings, things of that nature, I've never had the suspension bottom out. When it comes to jumping, the Can-Am has a reputation for flying high in the rear, and this is due to a few factors. First and foremost is the long wheelbase. What we see in the real world, out on the trail versus on a short course, is most ramp faces are smaller than the wheelbase of the car. The tendency for the car to fly high in the rear is increased by the suspension setup for maximum plushness. We found that jumps with a longer takeoff and aren't quite as peaked, typically what you would find on a side-by-side short course track, the machine flies straighter, truer, and much more predictable. Recently, I've had the chance to take this car out to the dunes and pound whoops in it. The suspension works phenomenal. It doesn't pack, doesn't deflect, makes the car extremely predictable. Wherever I want to point it, it goes. This car with the Smart Shox has 3 different suspension modes. For comfort mode in this car, I use it most of the time when driving down trails, which are mostly riddled with your small bumps and things of that nature. It's extremely comfortable. It doesn't wear you out. You can sit in the machine all day, it seems like. Sport mode, it stiffens the machine up so it doesn't have as much body roll, but still lets it move and work and stay comfortable. Sport Plus, I use if I'm aggressively driving, if I'm mobbing down a trail, out in the dunes, on a short course, things like that. I also use Sport Plus mode when rock crawling in extreme rock crawl conditions. It slows down low speed compression, which in turn lets it ride higher in the suspension travel and gives you more ground clearance. The steering on this car is razor sharp precision. If you're in 2-wheel drive, it's like driving a Corvette Z06 through the trails, through the woods. It has no problem steering with the back end. If you have it in four-wheel drive, it's like driving an Ultimate 4 car. It's on rails. A couple years ago, Can-Am added diff lock on the X3 line, and I've used it in rock crawl situations. It doesn't affect the steering like on some older models where it went where it wanted to go. Wherever you point the tires, this thing goes.
To reduce steering effort and bump feedback felt to the steering, Tri-Mode Dynamic Power Steering offers 3 different levels of assistance to choose from.
Part of the reason this car handles so well with the front differentials locked is the Tri-Mode Dynamic Power Steering. Low assist, I've tried with low traction, high-speed trails, and I felt it just wasn't enough, and found that I use medium range 90% of the time. It gives the best feedback, best steering feel. When we were at the Badlands running the serpentine trails with the deep sand, deep ruts, high assist, I found worked the best.
A square tire and wheel setup utilizes 32 by 10 by 14-inch Maxxis Carnivore tires, mounted on 14-inch cast aluminum beadlock wheels at all 4 corners. Beadlock wheels let you run less pressure when needed for traction, add strength, and will let you limp back to camp on a flat tire. The Maverick X3 RS measures in at 72.7 inches wide with a 102-inch wheelbase, around 2 inches narrower and 6 inches longer than the Polaris Turbo R. Ground clearance is a claimed 16 inches, identical to its in-class competitor. A 68.5-inch overall height is around 6 inches lower than the Turbo R.
One of the biggest advantages with this 72-inch model, the low center of gravity and more power on tap than anybody could probably need, is when you're pitching it into a corner, the back end never seems to want to completely hook and can possibly send you tumbling. The stability on this car is off the charts. You know, it doesn't matter if you're just cruising, if you're driving aggressive, this car is always planted no matter what. It's never come unplanted and just gotten wonky in a corner, never lifted a tire where I didn't want it or expect it. What I want it to do, it does every time. I've gone up and down some of the gnarliest trails on the East Coast, and with the low center of gravity, the long wheelbase, this car is always planted and stable, going up and down the steepest stuff I can find. Whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, if the trails you typically ride have room for a 72-inch model like this, I think you'll be thoroughly impressed with the suspension and handling of this car.
Brakes. 4-wheel hydraulic disc brakes slow the Maverick. Dual piston calipers are used at both ends with 262mm rotors front and 248mm rotors rear.
The brakes on this machine work really well. I feel as in this class compared to other models, the pedal's a little mushy or soft. I have not bled the brakes, but it's something I'm planning on doing to try and get a little bit more pedal feel. Brake balance on this car is very good. I've never noticed the rear end locking up and skidding before the front. Overall, braking performance on this machine is up to the task. I just wish there was a little bit more feel in the pedal.
Interior and other details.
One of my biggest complaints with the car, I feel like for the price point, the doors are not up to par. From the factory, it's only a quarter door. I feel it should be a full half door, you know, bottom or lower door included. The latches don't latch that great. I've broken a spot weld on the passenger side already. There's no door handle at all. It's a pull strap that doesn't work well. It gets stuck quite a bit. Overall, for future models, for upgrades or things change, it needs doors, full doors. Getting in and out of the machine is not bad. I don't like that I have to move the seat back every time because my knees hit on the door frame. Comfort of the seat and seating position is really good. I like the low center of gravity, so you feel like you're sitting in the machine and not on the machine. One of the cool things with the seats it offers 2 seating positions based off a spacer underneath the seat. In the low position, you have a reclined seating position, which it's pretty comfortable for aggressive driving. Or if you're a shorter driver, you can switch the spacer around, which raises the seat base to give you a better line of sight. This reduces the recline of the seat base, but keeps the angle of the seat back the same.
The seat backs feature pass-throughs for the retractable 4-point harnesses that come standard.
One of my biggest complaints with the seats is the seat sliders. They don't seem to slide that well if they get any kind of dirt or grit anywhere in the track, and you have to constantly keep them clean or it's a pain to move them. One of the other complaints I have with the seats is the seat removal. You can't remove the seat without tools. So if you're stuck on a trail, you have to and need to get under the seats or to the battery, you have to have tools with you. It makes cleaning a pain. I wish that there was an easier way to pop the seats in and out for faster removal. One of the other things I noticed with the interior of this car, the battery did not come with a cover, to whereas some of the other models in the lineup do, which leaves your battery more open to the elements.
Trip info and vehicle instrumentation are provided by a 7.6-inch backlit digital display mounted on the steering column.
Overall, the controls on the machine I'm really happy with. The steering wheel has a good tilt that you can get anywhere you want it. Gas pedal has a good feel. Brake pedal, as we said earlier, I wish was a little bit stiffer or had more feel to it. Your switches and your control panel, easy to follow, easy to go through, pretty straightforward. You have multiple switches or cutouts for switches to add accessories, which are nice. Overall, other than the door handles, all the touch points in this car are really solid. I'm really happy with them. Line of sight, front and rear, I was actually surprised. I thought the front was going to be a lot harder to see out of with a lower seating position. Out of the rear view is a little bit tougher, but with the retractable harnesses, you have more movement to lean out and look out the side if you need to, and this and that.
A standard center-mounted rearview mirror also makes seeing out of the back of the machine a bit easier. The sport roof comes standard, capping off the Maverick's interior.
Overall ergonomics are super comfortable, whether you're leisurely trail riding or aggressively driving. Taller drivers will be really comfortable. If you're a shorter driver, you may want to raise the seat. Unfortunately, this machine doesn't offer any storage other than the passenger side glove box. You have a rear cargo deck out back that you can strap things to, unlike some of the other sport models that offer a bed. So if you want to bring tools, gear, anything like that along, you pretty much have to look into getting accessory boxes or a roof rack.
In conclusion,
so I've had this machine for just over a year. I've got right at 1,500 miles on it. I've had no catastrophic failures, no major failures. I did have 2 wheel bearings go out, so I replaced the entire set.
on paper, the Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR appears class-leading in nearly every way. It's lighter and has more horsepower. Its handling is sports car-like, and its suspension appears to do everything well.
Final conclusions, after a year and 1,500 miles of having this machine, I'm absolutely stoked with it. If you already have off-road experience and you want the ultimate off-road machine, you may want to check out this XRS Turbo RR. This thing's an absolute rocket. You're gonna love it.
For more information on the 2023 Can-Am Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR with Smart Shox or their full line of side-by-sides and ATVs, log on to canamoffroad.com.